Our next speaker is the CEO of Fluency, Sinead Mac Manus. Welcome, Sinead. And Fluency is a learning platform that helps people develop digital skills.
That's right. Thank you, Michelle. And a big thank you to David and Cecilia for inviting me here today. It's a real pleasure to be sharing the stage with some amazing speakers and talking about something that's really, really close to my heart. So Fluency, as Misha said, is a digital skills learning platform that helps young people get into jobs. And jobs is something that's been on my mind a lot recently, and it's not just because we're coming to the end of one of our blended learning programs on Monday where I'm just trying to place my young people into startups. But I've also been thinking a lot about jobs and thinking about, well, what's the future of jobs for the young people I'm working with today? And more importantly, what does the future of work look like for them? So at first glance, we could be quite optimistic about this. Maybe the future looks quite bright. So 100% of net new jobs are created by companies that are only less than 5 years old. And in the UK, 50% of jobs created over the last 10 years have been created only by 6% of companies. And that's high growth startups with potential like my own. And this, if you ever hang out in Tech City in London, where we're based, fuels the egotism of startup founders that we all think we're going to change the world and that the future is tech startups. But if we dig a little deeper, I think the picture's not quite as rosy. Startups, as any CEO founder will tell you, fail at an alarming rate. So what looks like amazing job creation the next year can be devastating job losses. And if we look at what the kind of jobs that these tech startups are creating, and also who they're creating them for, I think the picture gets a little bit darker. So Charlie O'Donnell, who's a US investor, recently talked about in an interview that the majority of tech startups do not create jobs. They move jobs around the labor market. And learning organizations like General Assembly and Makers Academy take people from big businesses and traditional businesses, and they retrain them to be software engineers or product managers and lure them into the exciting world of tech startups. And this company may be an outlier, but when I think of tech startups and jobs, I always think of Instagram, who, when they sold to Facebook for famously $1 billion, had only created a grand total of 13 jobs, 13. And for every Google and Twitter, yes, that do create hundreds of jobs at all levels in the organization, there are hundreds more of companies like Instagram who create a tiny amount of jobs for the talented few. And the young people that we work with in the heart of Tech City in London find it really hard to access these jobs that we're talking about today. They don't have the education and the skills to go into these organizations, whether that's hard skills or the mindset. They don't have the money to pay for amazing courses like General Assembly. And unpaid internships, as Gypsy will probably talk about later, are still rife in the industry, even amongst funded companies. So if we combine older people staying in the workforce, junior roles not being created at big companies, and to misquote venture capitalist Mark Anderson, is software eating our jobs? Do things look a little bleak for our young Europeans? But I'm nothing if not an optimist. I think that technology has got the potential to create amazing new work opportunities and new types of work for millions of people around the world, not just the top 5% who can access it. But I think we need to rethink what a job is. So my father, bless his soul, stayed in the same job for 38 years, up and down the road, commuting 2 miles in his car. I'm Generation X. At age 41, I'm on my 4th career, yes, and I hope to get a couple more in before I kick the bucket. But the young people I'm working with today will have dozens of jobs and careers, and probably simultaneously. Tech startups are starting to create new forms of earning income and new forms of work. The on-demand economy and the sharing economy is disrupting entire industries and creating new income-generating opportunities, not necessarily jobs. So Airbnb, which I'm a massive fan of, we've been guest hosts for 4 years, allowed me to monetize my space and rent it out to strangers. On-demand taxi services like Uber, they may be controversial, but they are creating a fleet of self-employed drivers who can create their own schedule and cut out the middlemen of the taxi firms. Home cleaning services like Hassle.com are creating flexible work opportunities for mainly women in London. And companies like Odesk and Elance, of course, have created a global marketplace where anybody can sell their knowledge services, whether it's graphic design or mobile app development. So whether through necessity or desire, the young people that I'm working with, I think will help us redefine what work is. The young people I talk to don't want a 9 to 5. They don't want to wear a suit. They don't want to leave their phone in their bag at work, which is really annoying. And they don't want to hang their personality up at the door, all of the things I had to do in my first jobs. What they want is the freedom to work on things that interest them and that they're passionate about and the work that makes a difference. They want the flexibility, as Johan said, to work when and where they wish. And they want an environment where they're continually learning. So maybe the future of work looks something like this. So imagine a young woman, let's call her Sarah. She's 24 years old, she lives here in beautiful Berlin. She works as a freelance graphic designer selling her services through Odesk. She's also a photographer, and she screen prints her images onto bags, which she sells through her store on Etsy. She's doing a course in front-end design with online course provider Block in the US, so she can upgrade her skills and make more money. And herself and her boyfriend rent out their apartment at the weekend so they can go on trips with friends. Do we feel sorry for Sarah because she doesn't have what we consider to be a traditional job? Or is she the future of work? Thank you.